Hey there, Zach. This is Randy. So it does appear there was an error. In fact, I kind of analyzed it and found out a little more about it. Um, we'll also talk about the macros thing in a minute that you were having problems with. But okay, so the way this thing works is here's the original version. I was getting confused when trying to explain what all these columns meant when making a video to explain to people how to trade it. So then it got me real confused. Anyway, but in fact, the equation was erroneous, causing the massive change from profitable to unprofitable. So here's what I did. First of all, I moved all of. You'll notice these are offset, and I kind of know why I did that. It's because of the trading results for the trade you do don't actually show any daily results till the next day, but I did it incorrectly. Anyway, like when you look at this row here, this is the original sheet that I sent you. When you look at, if you double click on this cell, it shows you all of the cells connected to it. So in that case, this one here, and then this one, and then this one. Notice it's trying to base the results on the previous day's open before we were even in the trade. So that was the main error. It should have been this one and this one are the two to look at. So anyway, over here, again, I moved this thing up to make it look a little more uniform. But so here's how it works with this one. Let's just go through this. Whichever sheet you're on, everything up to these rows are all the same. Okay, there's nothing different from either of the sheets. Even with this, I'd remove the space to do some calculations in between. If you look at the month changes, I have a space there. I removed it from this one to see. I tried a 3-day and a 2-day momentum to see if either of those were profitable. Just a quick look. We'll get to that in just a second. So here, since I moved this thing up, the way this works is you have this day, and then here's the opening day of the trade, and then here's the opening day after that. So the difference between these 2 days shows the profit or loss for when we went, when we knew the next morning we would have to go short. So that's this entry here, just like it is over here. And so then you follow it through, and then it says we basically have to look at this and this to see if it was profitable. So regardless of whether or not this changes or not on this side. So what it boils down to is for this trade signal, you go down 1, down 2, because that's the second open after you're in the trade. The first open was the day of the trade, which is the day after this short signal. So this entry right here calculates your daily profit or loss. And I think I made increment and decrement. That's kind of confusing. I should have just said daily point gain or loss. Anyway, so if we double click on this one, instead of using the one above the entry day and the one of the entry day, instead now we're using the entry day and the day after the entry day, the full 24 hours since the trade was open, to find out if I had a profit or loss. So anyway, now one thing I did see too is we were discussing the equation itself. Here, let me. Okay, so we got that one. I screwed up the equation over here by clicking on things. Let me just there we go. Okay, so over here I have in this cell D21 minus D20, and then here I reverse the equation, D20 minus D21. Okay, so you take that, then over here we have D19. You can look at the two different equations right here. Here, let me go down one to make it the same. Okay, so here we're dealing with 20 and 21. So the only difference is I said the opposite of D20 to 21, and it turns out that the equation is identical. So I guess that wasn't the problem. I don't know why I thought that was the problem. I get confused kind of easily when fumbling through this stuff and dealing with a whole. The biggest problem on this is the fact that it was comparing the wrong cells. It was comparing, today is the signal, which means you need to compare the day that it started and the day after, not the day it started and the day before. Since this is one lower, it adds extra confusion when comparing it to this one. But this is the actual day you start the trade. That's why I think I put this one row lower. Instead of saying tomorrow start the trade, this one's saying today start the trade. But still, I would have needed to compare these two, not these two. Alright, so sorry for the long-winded explanation, but I did want to at least give you some explanation for where the problem was at, and it was a huge problem, sadly. So, alright, so now here, what I did is the 4-day, alright, we're dealing with this 4-day bracket where it compares this price to that price to derive this one. So I tried, even though this might be a little off, this 10-day count and all that, or it won't start counting until the trade is 2 days or 1 extra day longer, or shorter into it, and whatever. So this 4-day bracket, I did a 3-day version of it. First of all, the 4-day version of it, let's go all the way down here in this column to the bottom and see what the 31-year back test history produced. Alright, so it produced a negative 206 points. The 3-day, I changed the momentum to compare 3 days, so this one and this one instead of this one and that one on the 4-day. So anyway, now it's comparing this one and that one, and if we take this one all the way to the bottom, we see that it produced 82 points, 83 points over 31 years. Not very good. So then we go to 2-day, and the results are, here's column M, so we just, again, this day to that day, thinking maybe we could find some gold, but we go down to the bottom, that one lost 610 points over the 31-year span. Alright, so that, I'm pretty confident that the results are accurate with regard to all this, which, let's see, I think it gave, I think I did a quick P&L on it, so anyway, yeah, there's a lot of losing years in this one, and in fact, it's got a negative expectation here. So yeah, negative 18, negative 13, negative 8, negative 9. I mean, it had some winning years too. The average was negative 8,000 some dollars, or negative 282 points. So yeah, here's the more visual. You can see the red and green for losing months and losing years in that column. So yeah, all of the ratios and things significantly went way down. So alright, so that's that. Alright, now let's get on to macros in case you have any questions or feel like playing around with it on your own or what have you. So the macros situation. So I'm guessing you're using IBM compatible. If not, you can just go to like ChatGPT or look up wherever and find out how to add the developer tab. That's where you're going to find the macros information. I think they have this XLSM, means there's macros involved, and this information is wrong. You have to rerun the macro. Like, what's nice obviously about the equations is you just update the numbers over here and it changes them. With the macros, you have to rerun it for every time there's a change that you want to recalculate the column. So I have basically where you want to run this in order. So here's the macro. So I just copying the cell and pasting it into the macro is not going to work. You need to actually paste, double click in the box, do a Control Alt and then a Control C or copy or whatever, and then you paste it in here. But we'll talk about that in just a second. So the first thing we need to do is to make sure you're able to see macros, go to File and then Options, and then Customize Ribbon, and then the Developer tab will be over here if you're not presently seeing it over at the top up here. Same with the Data tab, which data is where we use to do sorting and stuff. So if you don't have data, that's a good one to add. You just click whichever one you want, click add, and then it's over there, then click OK. So you can remove them as well. If you wanted to remove that, you could click on it, and then anyway, you can remove it. I'm not really sure what's going on right now, but anyway, I'm just going to cancel it because I like it the way it is. But yeah, this data tab, basically like this, when you grab a data set, you want to sort it, that you want to move that closed column over to open, and then you want to sort it because the way that investing.com provides the data, the most recent data is at the top, so you want to do a sort, like you highlight and then do a sort A to Z or Z to A, whatever it is, to make it the opposite, so that you're showing the oldest data at the top. Anyway, so that's the story with that. Yeah, the 10-day smoothing, I'm kind of thinking it could be done away with, but I haven't really messed around with it that much, so, or at all really. With that said, I had made a template for stocks. Yeah, I was going to make it so there was a futures, stocks, and then all that good stuff. So anything else I need to mention? Oh yeah, here, let's show you a macros real quick. Alright, so I'm going to go to, now that I'm in the developer tab, I'm going to, first of all, you go to the top. I'm going to clean out a row first, so we actually have some, here I'm just going to do a few rows here. So the first thing I did is I pasted all the data, all of the open, high, low, and closes, just like we see it here. Then the next thing you do is you can add a blank row by going into this macro here and copying it and pasting it. First you copy it, or you do a Control-Alt, then Control-C, and then you have to hit Escape so these things aren't grayed out anymore. Alright, and then you click macros to make sure there's nothing in there. There is something in here, so I'm going to get rid of it. So click it again, I'm going to delete it. Click OK, and now it should be clean. Okay, it's clean. Now we go to this Visual Basic tab next to it, and a box like this opens up. Yours might not the first time. If it doesn't, click this module button and you'll see what I've got here. Oh no, I think I messed it up. Okay, so that's the same thing that I am looking at here. And so then right now I have two spreadsheets open. I have the one we were using for comparison, so I'm gonna make sure that only the one that I really actually want open is open. So let's close the one I don't want open. Okay, there we go. I'm not saving anything. Okay, so here we are. We're back to the one we were just messing with. Okay, so I click Visual Basic, and then I don't really fully understand. I think you don't have to click on anything. I'm clicking on Workbook, and then I'm clicking in this space in this window, and then I'm going to do a Control-V, or you can paste however you want. But this is what we just copied from right here a minute ago. Again, you have to click in this box and then copy it, not just copy the cell. And then sometimes you'll get this thing where I had the text wrapped because I didn't, who wants to look at all that gobbledygook. So anyway, you go to Data, and then, no, I'm sorry, you just go to Home, and then Wrap Text, and click it again, and it will get rid of it for you. Anyway, so we have, back to the Developer tab, we have this. So again, what we did is we just clicked on this after it was empty, and then paste your macro in there, click Save. It actually saves your whole file, so just be aware of that. If you had anything you wanted saved that you didn't want to be affected by this, save it under a different name or something. Alright, then you can close the window or leave it open, it doesn't matter. Then you can go to Macro and then click Run. Now what we're going to see is I'm not going to do the blank one. This one takes like 5 to 10 minutes to add all the blank spaces between where every month changes. Okay, so we're not going to use that one, but we are going to use this one. So I'm going to click in here, click Control-Alt, Control-C, and I'm going to hit Escape so that this is not grayed out anymore. We have a macro we were just using, so I'm going to delete that one. and then I'm going to go click this window. I click on this worksheet. That way it applies it to everything in the worksheet. I think it does anyway, but I don't really understand. Then I'm going to click save. Alright, then I can close this window or leave it open, doesn't matter. Then I can go run. And now we'll start seeing a little bit of information pop up in there. Okay, so that's what it looks like when it's done. The hardest part of doing these macros is every time you want to update something or make a change somewhere else, you have to delete all of these rows, and there's like 8,000 rows of data. Every column that has one of these purple text macros in it is that's the basically that's where you know you need to run it. So you run that one, then that one, then that one, and that's where you'll see the data is in the column that it shows it for. So there's that. But yeah, so what I kind of did is I made a template where I just deleted all of these rows that have macros. It took, I don't know, half an hour to go through and go like this for half an hour, deleting all these rows from the original version that we made of this thing. So anyway, then I saved it, and I made sure I didn't save anything with macros onto the template. That way I could rerun it real quick, because once you get going with this, I mean, you can, after you do a couple of them, I mean, you can just start copy this, get rid of that, and then macro delete, and then go over here and then just type, I've even been, just delete that, then add that, then save it. It looks like you can even run it from here. I haven't really done that, but I'm just gonna do it the way I've been doing it. But yeah, then you run it, and then you move on to the next macro, and it just it goes pretty quick. You can do it in under 15 minutes, the whole analysis. Although down at the bottom here, all this stuff might need to be updated for the stock version, I think. In the stock template, it has a slightly different format there, with this stuff. And for stocks, I've only been doing a 1-year check on this momentum strategy, and that's because, take Tesla. Tesla's only been around a number of years, but every year it grows astronomically, so it's hard to really get an average ROI, because the ROI, I mean, maybe percentage-wise it might be a good comparison, but as far as just points or dollars or whatever, not a good comparison, because really just the most recent year is going to have quite a large difference in price from the year before. So with futures, the stuff just is in constant fluctuation year after year. I mean, I'm sure it goes up a little bit if the dollar's devalued or whatever. I don't know, maybe not, because it's an American exchange and it's based on the dollar. So anyway, but yeah, so just a little information on all of that. If there's anything I can help you with, let me know. Sorry for such a long video, and I hope that it helps you and explains some of the issues that we've been going through with this. Also, there is another strategy that I'm looking at that I'm planning to possibly use, so we'll talk about that another time. And one other thing too is you mentioned your son you're trying to teach him about investing. I mean, I know you know tons about all this stuff. I'm just sharing with you what I know. My personal preference, if I was doing investing, sometimes this might even work for position or swing trading. By nature, I'm kind of a swing trader. I don't really like day trading and all of that, but there's a great book. It's not a long read, and it's an entire investing, like, trading system. This is it right here. It's called Point and Figure Charting. These charts, if you awesomely, you can go to stockcharts.com. Who's the guy who's the author of that real thick book you've got, the technical analysis of the financial markets or whatever. Anyway, you can look up stocks, not futures, I don't think, but we'll just look up TSLA, Tesla. All right, and then there's this. What we need to do is we can change it. Is this where we do it? Point and figure chart is what we're looking for. Okay, so let's just hold on just a moment, please. Charts, point and figure. Okay, so this is a different kind of chart based on supply and demand. Basically, the way that this works. Here, let me. It's kind of hard to see it. There we go. The way this works is there's no time is really not evaluated on these charts like the bar charts and candlestick charts. Basically, every time you see a number, that means the month has changed. But these are pretty much supply and demand charts that take out like so much noise. There's ways you can modify them to be really accurate, and I like percentage. So anyway, these charts, in my opinion, are like, if I was investing, that's probably what I would go with. And this book is just an incredible book. It's an older book. They used to use these even in like the futures pits. There would be traders doing these X and O's on like little index cards and things, is my understanding. Anyway, there you go. That's that. And it seemed like there was one last. Oh yeah, the last thing I wanted to mention to you is on interactive brokers. Hold on a second here. All right, so sounds like you've opened the interactive. I should have done this in a normal window, not Chat GPT. All right, let's just close that out and go here. Okay, so for interactive brokers, where's their? They usually have. Okay, margin requirements. Okay, so maybe I should have done it there. Okay, so here's what we've got here. This thing is like for all their leverage products, all of their margin requirement information. So if we do it's just too big to find things, so I usually just go to Control F, find. I'm going to type ZC for corn. Actually, I'm going to go XC. That's the mini corn contract. That's the one I was going to trade. It's about, I think it's a fourth of the size of the normal corn contract. Anyway, so there's 39 different things that say XC, but we got to find the ticker symbol. Okay, I think here it is. Okay, trading class. So here, intraday initial and intraday. So we've got the intraday amount it costs to open a contract or to trade a contract, then the overnight, right? So let's go down to, I think this is correct here. Okay, many-sized corn futures. Okay, so you'll see you're looking at about $350 is what it takes to open a position, long or short, on the mini corn contract, right? So that's for intraday. So even if you just want to trade it during the day, and then if you want to hold it overnight, it's the same thing, right? So now we're going to take a look at the E-mini S&P. Or actually, we're going to look at the micro. No, we'll look at the E-mini, ES. This is the most high volume contract on the futures market, is my understanding. So we've got to find the margin information for that one. Sorry to hold you here. Come on, where's ES? Alright, I'm going to type S. There's too many of them. SP 500. I'm just going to type 500. Okay, 500. E-mini. Okay, E-mini S&P ES right here. So yeah, so we were just looking at those incredible high numbers, or we were just looking at those numbers. I'm sorry, I'm having a problem with my equipment here. Okay, here it is. All right, so here it is, the intraday initial margin for the E-mini S&P 500 and then the overnight. So when we go down here, oh boy, where E-mini S&P 500? Huh. Well, you can see the day amount is a lot lower than the evening amount, but maybe it's the micro that I was looking at. MES. Okay, well, that's still not very low. Boy, I was thinking it was quite a bit lower for the intraday versus the holding it overnight version. So, doesn't look like it is, but anyway, I guess that just tells me that's not what that's not the way I thought it was. Anyway, so I was going to show you just how large the difference was, but in this case, it's only like $1,000 difference. But yeah, this micro E-mini S&P 500 super popular, but the ES, the the mini S&P 500 is the most liquid and highly traded commodity in the entire commodity markets, is my understanding. All right, well, I've taken enough of your time. Have a good night.